Alright guys, today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Halloween is here, so it's time for scary movies and ghouls and goblins, so I figured I would go over one of my favorite scary movie series, and that is the Scream series. I remember seeing this back in the theater when I was 14 years old. I mean, back in the day when you can get into a rated R movie being underage. Nowadays you can't even buy these things without having to show ID. It's pretty crazy how things have changed over the years. But back in the day, scary movies were, back in '96 when this came out, scary movies were, it seemed like they were kind of on the wane. You know, everything was doing sort of the same thing, and it may not seem like it now, but the Scream series was really a fresh, new way of approaching the horror genre by taking, elements from Halloween and sort of updating them for a modern audience. I remember the artwork for the movie being all about Drew Barrymore being in this movie, and it was such a it just blew your mind when you went into watching it. And Drew Barrymore got killed within the first, 10 minutes of the movie, and killed brutally. Like, the DVD versions, I don't know how many of you guys have watched these very closely. The DVD versions are actually a little bit edited, at least the first movie is. I remember the VHS when I got it, watching it, and when it goes up to Casey Becker hanging from the tree, it's very slow and you get to see all the detail. And the DVD versions is a lot quicker, so for some reason, I don't know why they censored it for this, but this movie when it came out was just such a breath of fresh air, and you can kind of tell how fresh it was at that point in time, because immediately after that you had a bunch of knockoff movies like Urban Legends and I Know What You Did Last Summer, that took the genre of a man in a mask stalking people and just kind of ran with it. It's kind of hard to say what the impact of this movie really was, because for a long time horror movies were number one, and it's still, in a lot of ways they still are kind of number one, except now it's all like Saw type movies where it's torture porn instead of these fun slasher picks. Just a really fantastic movie. I can't speak highly enough of Scream 1. It's really awesome. And then when you get to Scream 2, this one was not as good as the first one, but is still really good. And I still think that the killer in this one, this is a spoiler episode, Mickey in this one is still one of my favorite killers because he's just maniacal by the end of it. Interesting fact about this one, though, David Arquette, Dewey, was actually supposed to die in this one. But due to, actually he was supposed to die in this one as well, in Scream 1. But due to like fan reaction, they brought him back for Scream 2, and then, in Scream 2, he was supposed to die again, but they thought, oh, we can't kill him because of, him and Gail falling in love. Probably my favorite killing in this one, oh gosh, I have to think. My favorite one in this one is the opening, definitely. The opening in this one is just ridiculous. But I have to say, I think my favorite one in this one is actually probably when Mickey gets killed, because it's just funny how he just jumps up out at the end and then they just blast him away with the guns. This one's really, I would say this one is where it started to get a little bit more funny than scary. And then we went into this one, which Scream 3, I would say this is more funny than scary. I really enjoyed this at the time, but now watching it with some hindsight, and especially after seeing Scream 4, this one doesn't hold up as well. I think I read somewhere that the story for Scream 3 was actually supposed to be kind of similar to the story for Scream 4, where they return to Woodsboro. But Kevin Williamson, actually, I don't remember, he started to do like a treatment for it, I think, and then for some reason he wasn't able to do the movie, so they got Aaron Kruger to do it instead, and he kind of turned it into Scream Goes to Hollywood. Jay and Silent Bob are in this. I mean, that's kind of how crazy this one gets. But you can kind of see part of the original idea of Scream 3 with the movie within a movie, Stab 3, Return to Woodsboro. This one was they were supposed to go back to Woodsboro in this and sort of face the past, if you will, which they kind of did, and I liked the whole thing with the killer ended up being her half-brother from this past life. But I don't think the whole Hollywood thing really needed to be done. I think they could have kept it in Woodsboro and just had the brother come back. still keep the whole second life, but you know, with a movie like this that comments on the horror movies, they kind of had to go to Hollywood, I guess, to really do whatever. And then next we have the most recent film, Scream 4, which I just picked this up today. When this came out, I thought this was perfect. This is exactly what Scream needed, and you can kind of tell how the horror movies have changed over the years, because this did not do well in the box office. Got some crud on there already, I just bought the thing. Scream 4, I think it made like 40 million in America, and I think the budget was like 80 million, so it made half of its budget back, if I remember that correctly. But I think this is pretty perfect, especially the ending. The ending is such a comment on our current times and sort of this whole thing with YouTube in and of itself, how, you know, people can make their own videos now and become sort of pseudo-celebrities. It really touched on a really good nerve, and I really hope that they bring 5 and 6 out. They planned this to be the start of a new trilogy. It did not go the way I thought it was going to go. I thought that... Okay, spoiler alerts again, guys. If you don't want to know anything about Scream 4, stop right now. It actually ends up that Emma Roberts is the killer. Now, I thought that somebody else was going to be the killer and whack off the sort of the old crew, and that Emma Roberts was going to be the new Sidney for the new trilogy. That's what I thought, and I think that's what everyone thought. So that's why they kind of threw the screwball at you that she's actually the killer, and the reason why she does it is because she wants to be the next Sidney with this whole internet celebrity thing, and I think that is just brilliant for these movies. It's something that the earlier movies didn't really... Well, Scream 2 kind of touched on it with Mickey wanting to be famous by going to trial. But it's something the other movies didn't really touch on because the killers all wanted to get away with it. And Emma wants to be the lone survivor, so she will be the new star of the new Sidney. I thought that was a brilliant way to handle the new storyline. I don't know why this didn't do very well, because it is a brilliant movie, I think. But of course, kids today, they want to see people get ground up and, you know, basically mutilated on screen, which I've never been a big fan of the Saw series. I saw the first one, and the only thing that was really even interesting was when Cary Elwes cut his own leg off, which I think that's the whole point, right, guys? So yeah, just a brief overview of the Scream franchise. I really hope they continue it, though, with the kind of sort of box office failure of Scream 4. Who knows, maybe it'll sell a bunch of DVDs and Blu-rays and they'll decide to keep it going. But I think it's over with Scream 4, unfortunately. Although I was really skeptical when this was announced. I was like, you know, it's been 10 years. I don't really know if we really need Scream 4, but now that they've made it, it really makes up for Scream 3 in a lot of respects, because this one just gets a little bit ridiculous, a little bit unbelievable, and this one is completely believable. So yeah, guys, let me know, what do you think about the Scream series, or what is your favorite Halloween scary movie series? This is the first of a couple discussions I have about movies, so we'll see how this goes. But yeah, let me know what you think. Alright guys, see you next time.